Okay guys, we're back. I got a good dough ball here. You can see the size. It's, a hand, 2 handfuls like that. And I wanted to show you guys how to roll it. I pulled up my parchment paper because this dough ball was actually sticking to it. So it wasn't really going to work for rolling. So first thing we need to do is knead it, because kneading just means that you turn the dough over and over. You can knead dough that you normally cook, to make bread or pizza or something like that. This is a clay, so we're going to knead it a little bit like clay. So first thing you want to do is roll it like this, into like some kind of ball. And then you're going to stick it down in front of you. Maybe if I move back, you can see it a little bit more. You're going to push with one hand in, and on the other hand, you're going to turn it over. So you're just going to do that a couple times. And you'll end up getting this kind of circular conch shape. Conch is like a seashell. So doing that a couple times, every time you do it, you're going to turn it a little bit more. You're mixing the salt and the flour, and in this case the cinnamon, into that mixture. The water is really just a stabilizer to keep this all together. So you're gonna do that a couple times. Take that ball, push with one hand down, roll in, turn it. Push with one hand down, roll in, turn it. Push with one hand down, roll in, turn it. And this will give you, a spiral kind of look. So you can see how that looks right there, like a conch, like a seashell. And then, just however you want to do it. So once you have your dough ball, you're going to plop it down nice and hard. You want to plop it down nice and hard because you don't want to get any air underneath. Next, you're going to take your rolling pin, which is another thing you're going to need. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can ask somebody in your family to help you out with some kind of round bottle or jar. And every time I roll it, I'm going to flip it, turn it down hard, turn it. I think this dough works best if you push in one direction. Okay, take it, flip it, turn it. And you'll get some breaks in there, some cracks and little crevices. That's okay. We don't want to make this like pasta. We don't want to make it too thin. Now, you can use whatever you'd like to cut it. To cut dough, for me, I'm going to use just a little butter knife. This is something that you definitely want to ask mom and dad for help with. I wouldn't do anything like this by yourself, especially since it's going to be something that goes into the oven if you decide not to air dry it. All right, one last go. Take this, and then I'll let you see what it looks like with the cinnamon in it. It gives it a nice speckly kind of color. So you can see it's very fine, little dots and stuff like that. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, so this is my salt dough. Take all the little pieces of dough that you have on the table, sweep them up into your hand, put them back into here. Don't try to stick it back in here around the edges or anything. It's not necessary. All right, next thing. You can take whatever you'd like to shape your piece. I figured I'd make a couple different pieces. Maybe we'd make a circle using a jar. Maybe we'd make, let's see, a heart. And then I thought it would be cool to make a little sugar skull. So let's get started with the circle. Circle, you're going to need a circular object. Can be a glass, can be a jar, can be anything you'd like. It can be any size too. You know, the smaller you make them, you know, the harder they're going to be to just, you know, paint one evenly, but you can do it. You can also push into the dough. So if you wanted to, you know, push with your thumb, make some fingerprints or something like that, you can definitely do it. So I'm going to make 2 circles, push down. Don't push too hard that you're breaking the glass, and then turn a little bit. Heard that pop. And then let's make one more circle right here. Don't worry about going all the way to the edge, because you can always reform this dough to make shapes that you missed using all the leftover dough in between. Okay, I got 2 circles there. I'm going to try to pull those 2 circles up, and I'll wait until afterwards. Okay, next I wanted to make a heart. So I'm just going to lightly push. You don't want to cut the table if you're doing it directly on the table. Okay, I'm going to make the top of the heart first. Go around. You can push. I would push a little bit more than I would pull the knife, because if you pull the knife, you might get like little scoot lines from where the knife pulled the dough out of the way, and you don't necessarily want that. So just push down, move your knife, push down, that kind of thing. Okay, you can also use a spoon if you're afraid of using a knife. A spoon works just as fine. You might even get better edges because the spoon is a little rounded. So unless you're making a square, yeah, totally. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to make was a sugar skull. So a skull is a head, you know, the bones in the head. So it has a round part here, and then here it's going to go in a little bit for the jaw before we get to the chin. All right, so let's start off by making a circular top, and I'll make this one bigger than my circles. Okay, circular top, and I'm going to go in, and you'll really be able to see these shapes after I'm done. It almost looks like a light bulb, but with a really fat bottom. Okay, and why don't we give another circle right here? Add circles where you can, because everything extra is just going to be reused when we re-roll and form the dough. And yeah, twist it a little bit. Okay, now next step is pulling up this dough. So it's okay if it breaks. You can even break it yourself along the way as you're pulling this. So pull, break, hold off to the side, pull, break, hold off to the side, pull, break, hold off to the side. Now I have all my shapes. I have my heart, my skull, my circles. Yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay, in the next video, I'm going to show you guys what to do with all of this. All right, bye-bye.